AG Home Improvement specializes in transforming homes with quality siding, windows, doors, and framing built to last. They believe craftsmanship matters, and every detail counts. From upgrades to full exterior rebuilds, we dive into the best practices that AG Home Improvement believes in to protect your home, boost your value, and bring your vision to life.
Remove the original siding. The house had cedar shakes and had vinyl siding on over the cedar shakes installed. So we removed everything to the original decking board. Then we installed house wrap, Tyvek house wrap. And on top of that, we installed 1-inch insulation with an 6R value to improve the energy efficiency of the house. So this is a very good step to do for all the houses that they were built with like before the energy code changed. They have the structure is made out of 2x4s, and there is only so much insulation you can add, even if you do a blow-in through the outside. And by adding this insulation over on top of the house, like not on like over the house, over the wall, you can maximize the total energy, the total R value of the wall. So let's say if you have like an 2x4, you have an R15, that's maximum you can get out of the 2x4. You add an R6, so you are an R19 on the wall. Also, you can go, there is 1.5-inch insulation that has an R9 value and a 2-inch insulation, but not in all the cases it's possible to use that type of thickness because there are other details involved depending on how the house is built. So what we do, especially also what I want to talk about is the windows. So you have that old window with wood trim around it, and most of the time the windows, they have that gap that is left over from the old weights. With replacement windows, you still end up with a gap over here that's under, like that was like for the weights. So what we do, we expose everything, we trim the bottom seal flush with the wall, and we spray foam that gap over here. Then on top of, like the first layer on top of the decking, we install 1-inch thick PVC to compensate for the insulation and also to have a weather resistant product that will never rot. After that, we install this door casing, which gives a complete new look for like to the window. The bottom part is always sealed with a drip cap, so there is no water that will damage in any way the insulation. Backsplash, I'm talking about backsplash water. And the top is sealed with flashing tape, so no water gets, like no condensate gets behind that drip cap. And after all this is done, we start the siding. What we try to do is to make sure that all the seams, all the connections between the insulation are weather tight and sealed. So we use a 3-inch insulation. It's 3-inch tape, seam tape, specially designed for this purpose to protect any connections and between the insulation panels. This will protect water and air from penetrating the blanket we create.
What is the purpose of these?
This is, that's how we install the insulation. So we screw the insulation to the house with the screws, 2-inch screws and plates. That's for rigidity of the panel because the insulation is a 4 by 8 feet. And if you don't use this type of fasteners, the panel might buckle and bend over time. We make sure that this is well screwed in, and this will give you a straight and
Now, is this something that a lot of companies do? Because I've seen a lot of companies just use staples, or sometimes they'll just use nails. So why is it that like a lot of companies don't use that? Are they just cutting corners? Is that
Yes,
something the
it
homeowner
is.
should look out for?
It is easier to just nail it. The problem is that the pan of the board, it might curve from differences in temperatures over time. So the correct way to install it is with screws. So that gives you the rigidity that you need and a straight wall. So I mean, if the house is settled on a side or another, there is not much you can do, but that will definitely compensate for some of the imperfections on the house.
Now, I see that you have all these areas completely taped off around all the windows on there, and all the openings. And then you have this trim here as well, which we talked a little about earlier. But this is also designed so that you could slide the new siding panels directly into them too, right? And give you a seamless finish.
Correct. This is designed to install the siding and finish it inside the trim board. So after we removed the siding, we did all this prep work for to the house, installed the corner boards on the house. Prior to that, we installed flashing tape on the corner.
So this what we're seeing here is the Tyvek that goes over the board, and then after that you do
Correct.
the insulation.
So this is a 3-season room. It's not heated, it's not insulated. It's just pretty much a covered porch. So we're not gonna install any insulation on this part. But homeowner at some point installed some screen windows on wood trim that got rotted over time. So what we do, we removed, you can see on the other side, we removed the screen windows. We installed new PVC trim that is weather resistant, and we installed the screen windows back onto the PVC, which will be weather resistant and it's not gonna rot like in a long time. So you can see over here, this is the replaced trim, and that's where the screen windows will be reinstalled.
So what did you guys do here?
We replaced all the wood rotted trim
Okay.
with new PVC. So because that was wood trim,
And why are you using PVC?
because it's weather resistant. And it's a product that will withstand the weather over time.
So this is a good product to use in New England and areas where there's a lot of
Yes.
weather, right?
Yes. So if you have to have some exposed trim boards, you definitely have to go to a PVC board, because to protect it in any way, like you don't have to do any maintenance. Like with the wood, you would have to constantly paint and maintenance.
and stuff, yeah.
This is a maintenance-free product.
That's great. So compared to wood, it's slightly more expensive,
Yes.
but it requires way less maintenance.
yes.
You don't have to paint it every season or every couple years.
Yes.
It's not going to warp. It's not going to deteriorate, right?
Yes.
The other advantage of it is that you don't have to worry about rodents or anything eating away at it,
Yes.
right?
No rot, no woodpeckers.
Okay.
That's a very important part. No woodpeckers.
So they don't like PVC at all.
They don't like PVC at all.
Interesting. Okay.
So no woodpeckers.
So what did you do here?
This is a weather. This is a dryer vent. So we removed the old dryer vent, installed a new outside, and we taped the vent to make it weather sealed and protect it against the water.
And that's where the hoses and the electrical.
The hose will get separate block. I installed it in the front. Obviously, we did not have time to install it here. There is a block.
There's a special block
Special
that they make
block for that, yes.
Very cool.
You can see it in the front. So the corners, like the next step, we will be ready for siding installation is to install the corners. So first, we tape the connection of the insulation boards at the corners. We also tape the top of any new flashing that we add. We remove the old counter flashing that was rotted.
Right on the bottom?
Right on the bottom. And we installed a new counter flashing. We tape the top of the counter flashing so no water gets behind it.
So that's a common area that tends to leak, especially with ice damming, right?
Yes, yes. And with over time, that a lot of that counter flashing is getting
Like weathered,
like
kind of
weather is
moisture,
getting
precipitation.
is having installed it several, like doing some repair. You have multiple holes from different repairs, like maybe did a roof or siding prior to that, so that flashing a lot of the time is damaged or is kind of like deteriorated in any way. So we always make sure that we change the flashings. This will definitely protect the house for any further leaks, because this is a very common area to have a leak on the house. After we do all the prep work, that's when we start to install the first vinyl siding products that you're gonna see, because obviously this is covered, so you don't see that. So we install the corners, this is a super corner. It comes in 20 feet long, so if you have a longer wall, you will avoid any connections.
Any seams and
Any
stuff,
seams,
which is
yes.
great. It gives you a cleaner look. And what we're talking about is that white trim right there. That's your corner board.
Yes,
And that's a 5.5 inch.
that's a 5.5 inch.
And is that also insulated as well?
It is insulated as well.
Okay, so that helps with rigidity in case someone bumps into it. It's not
Yes.
going to break as easily.
Yes.
But it also helps with adding a little bit more insulation in those areas
Correct,
too.
yes. We prepared the corner to start with the siding. So the next step will be to install a vinyl corner over here, which it will be part of the final product. This is the counter flashing that was replaced. And this is the flashing over the top. In this area, prior to install the insulation, we installed zip tape on top of the old step flashing, which obviously you don't see too much, and we covered that with the insulation. An important part of siding replacement on the house is make sure that there is proper intake ventilation. We drill the soffits to make sure that there is air intake from the bottom. There is ridge vent on the top. That will be the exhaust that will take all the moisture that will build up under the roof. We'll take it and we'll remove it outside.
So when we have proper intake ventilation in the house, and then at the very top of the roof, right up here, we'll get you guys a closer look there, there's a ridge vent. What that allows to happen is that the water and moisture is able to get carried out of the house, which helps prevent ice damming in the winter months. So if ice damming is when you have all those big icicles on the edges of the roof because there's not adequate either insulation or ventilation and moisture is being trapped there. And that's a very big reason why people have a lot of leaks. And so what you've done here is basically prepared all that area underneath the siding and underneath the insulation and weatherized that. And then on top of that, you added that weather stripping over that with that flashing there to make sure that no water is going to get back up underneath that and over it too.
Correct. Yes.
As well. So what's next?
To start to install siding.
Awesome. So what does that look like?
We're going to install certainty zero impressions with a 5-inch exposure. So it's a 555. The panel itself is 15 inches long, but has a 555 design on. And after that, that's it.
Awesome. The house is done.
The house is done.
Great. Let's take a look at that.
So the final step before the siding installation will be to completely finish the weatherization of all the seams. Then we install the fascia trim on the rakes that has an integrated J-pocket to receive the siding, so you don't have a transition in between the siding to the fascia, and you have no exposure to the weather.
So the whole process, I mean, it's a complete system, right? It's not as simple as just wood and then siding, right? Like there's a lot more involved in that.
There is a lot more involved, and I would say that more than half of the products we install on the house, you don't see them. And 90% of the work it's not vinyl siding, is the preparation of everything.
So walk me through that initial preparation from day zero. You're just getting here. What does that whole process look like, from step zero to finish?
All right. So first day we arrive, we start with removing everything to the original decking of the house. And we make sure that before we leave, we install house wrap on the walls. The second step would be after we're done with removal, we start to prepare the windows. We remove the old trim, we spray foam all the gaps, cut flash the bottom sill with the wall. We install 1-inch PVC around the windows to build up for the insulation. After this process is done, we install the insulation. We screw the insulation to the house with plates and screws. Then the next step would be to complete sealing all
The gaps and
gap
stuff, right?
seams.
Yeah. So on this wall right here, we'll have all those seams in between all those boards completely taped off.
Correct.
Yeah.
This can be done either this first, or on this particular case, we did the window casing first. We did the bottom drip cap we installed. Now we're gonna start with the seam tape on around the house on all the boards. After all that work is done, the next step would be we install the fascia boards on the rakes.
And the fascia is just all the way up the top, that wood exposed.
Yes, that
right
will
up
cover
there.
this has the fascia has an integrated J pocket, so we'll receive the siding, and also we'll cover. You see the gap that we have right now in between the insulation and the wood board. That will be covered by the fascia, so will be no exposure whatsoever. Only after that, we start the siding. The
So that's the
siding
last.
is the last. Yes, the siding is the last, and it's the really the easiest part of everything.
And then once the siding's done, how long will this last?
The product warranty is 30 years. We provide a 10-year labor warranty, which is completely different.
So what does that mean?
It means that if you have any deterioration in the color or any other mechanical defects over the time in the product, that will be covered by the manufacturer.
And that's through the manufacturer.
Yes.
Yeah.
If you have any, let's say, a panel will fall, or a piece of aluminum will fall, or some other
Like defects and stuff.
installation defects, that's labor warranty. But we are confident that everything is going to be good, so not afraid to give a 10-year warranty on labor, because after all this prep work, there is no much can happen.
So this is actually probably one of the biggest things that differentiates, a well-established local expert versus, a local fly-by-night company, is that a lot of those local companies don't give any warranties. When they give you a warranty, they say it's going to be like a 1-year warranty. But then when an issue arises, they kind of give you the runaround. Now you're doing a lot of prep work over here to make sure that you don't have to come back and make major fixes.
Correct.
Right? So what is the most vulnerable part of a project like this that you typically see over the long haul?
As far as part of what we do, I am confident that you would not have any problems with the house at all. But you'd have to definitely maintain the vinyl, power wash it like once a year with a light power on the hose.
Under pressure.
Light.
So you don't
pressure.
want to go super hard where it'll damage
No,
the
no.
vinyl.
Because
Just enough to get any algae, dirt.
Yes,
right?
that's a very important part, because if you don't do that, you're gonna start to have build up on the vinyl, and the vinyl it'll be protected against water and weather because we do all that work, but it's not gonna look fresh.
Mm-hmm.
So it's definitely recommended. Especially you can do it in the spring after all the pollen is gone, like the beginning of the summer. That's a good time to do it. Other than that, I mean, there is not much you have to do with vinyl siding. No painting, no nothing. just light power wash once a year.
Once a year. Great. Thank you. Thank you very much for, coming and doing this video with us. Really quickly, just as an introduction for homeowners that are starting the process of getting quotes, they're trying to learn more, and they're getting 2 to 3 estimates with contractors that are local and in the area. What are some tips that you would recommend?
First of all, definitely check the other projects that the contract did before they came to you, and understand very well what the quote says, because not always the cheapest is the greatest. If you understand what you have to understand what you're paying for, and that's a major point in making a decision whom to hire.
So that's an important point, because these fasteners, the zip tape, the insulation, all those little details add money, right?
They add time and they add money, correct. They add time and money, which obviously will be reflected in the quote. And as a homeowner, you have to understand what you're charged for and what you're gonna receive for your money.
What's typically the biggest thing that homeowners say when they're getting estimates that really doesn't necessarily look out for their own best interest, right? Because a lot of times they're you mentioned the pricing on the job is one of them, but is the warranty and are other things that are not being disclosed to the customer? Or what is the biggest thing that you say homeowners just look past and don't really take into consideration when they're getting other quotes?
I would say that the most common issue is not understanding what you were offered, and looking at the numbers, just seeing blink numbers. If you have some big differences in numbers between the quotes, is definitely a red flag. So you have to understand why the particular contractor is charging you more and why the particular contractor is charging you less. And the bigger number is honest, correct number, and maybe the lower number is a honest number, but you have to understand why you are getting this. And if you have this difference in between the quotes, I think you should have a second meeting with the contractor to thoroughly explain you what he's going to do and why did he come with this number. By understanding that, it'll be easier to make a decision.
That's great. That's really great advice. And just kind of off the bat, I've seen in the past that what a lot of contractors will do is they won't even include insulation, right? They'll just do right over the Tyvek wrap, and there's no plates on the board. There's no zip tape on the board. There's no starter strip. It's just Tyvek with siding over it. What's the problem when with that quote, especially if a homeowner's saying, oh, well, I'm not going to live here that long, or this is just going to be a rental property. I don't really care. I'm just trying to get it as cheap as possible. What are the implications of that?
Ultimately, the homeowner decides what's better for him. A big part of what we do is transparency on everything what we do as far as like installation and materials. This is how we work, and sometimes we run into a situation where the homeowners are on tight budget. The homeowners have to make a decision that will affect in the long run the quality of the final product that we will be able to provide. But we always try to make sure that the homeowner understands that, but we don't try to hide any problems. In the perfect world, it's all the time is better to do correct the way it's supposed to be, but not all the times you can do all those details. So you have to adapt, at least make sure that it's weather tight, and there is no will not create any further problems with rotted wood and rotted walls, damaged properties. So that's the actual board of the insulation. It's a 4x8 piece, 1 inch thick, with a 6 R value. Another plus that I want to talk about installing this on the house is not only the energy efficiency that you receive, is also the sound barrier that you will receive from installing this product on the house. You'll definitely hear less inside the house. This is something that gets kind of like under talk because of all the energy efficiency pluses that you have, but that is definitely a common and a pleasant bonus.
So it helps with energy efficiency. It helps improve fire rating.
Yes.
It creates a thermal barrier, and it also helps control moisture.
Yes.
And it also helps with sound deadening inside the house, so that inside the house, you're not hearing that neighbor cutting their grass,
yes.
right?
This is more like a bonus. That's a bonus.
That's a bonus. It doesn't work outside, unfortunately, but
Yes.
but it works great on the inside of the home.
Yes.
That's great. Now, is this something that's required of the energy codes?
It starts more and more to be required, and not in every town.